Hi, I'm Mr. Miyagi and this is Mr. Miyagi's workshop. Okay, you want to buy a bike. If you want to buy a new bike, don't watch this video, it's not going to help you. Just run off to the new dealership, you'll be fine. But if you want to buy a used bike, let's talk about what you need to know. And here's a nice one right here I just picked up. Let's get to it.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Miyagi, and this is not my workshop. The reason I'm making a cameo appearance today is that during post-production of this video, I noticed some things that I thought Mr. Miyagi should have addressed, and he didn't. And he refused to tape anything, so here I am to provide this information. So when you're buying a used bike, some of these things that I'm going to go over could be considered deal breakers that may determine whether you do or do not want to buy the bike. The first one is, does the bike have a title? This could be a deal breaker depending upon what state you live in or what country you live in, also the age of the bike. So that's something you need to find out ahead of time. If the bike doesn't have a title, is it going to be easy for you to get it titled in your name? Is it going to require a title search? You don't want to invest money in a bike and a lot of time in restoring it to find out that you can't get clear title to it. So that's the first one. Second issue is it a bike that requires some assembly? In other words, is it a bunch of boxes that represent the bike that you have to figure out how to put together, or is it pre-assembled for you? And depending upon your skill level and how much you know about bikes and how comfortable you feel reassembling a bike, that also could be a deal breaker. And then this will be my bike, I've been told. And Mr. Miyagi did go over this later on in this video, but I just want to point this out, especially for women. You want to really make sure the bike fits you. And as you can see, I'm 5'4", and as it sits now, I'm on my tiptoes, and I don't feel comfortable. I feel comfortable riding it. It's the stopping part I'm concerned about. So I like to be flat-footed when I stop. So we're going to put in shorter spring shocks, whatever, something shorter shocks, so that maybe I can be flat-footed. Also, I'll be wearing boots that maybe have a little bit more heel than these. But that's also something to consider, whether you can actually touch the ground and you feel comfortable on the bike, because remember, you're the one that's going to be riding it. So this is my debut event, and I'm going to sign off now. So later.
I just bought this bike recently. Got it for a decent price, 800 bucks. Not bad. It runs. It moves down the road. Everything basically works on this bike. It's a good deal. It's got fairly decent tires. Even though they're old, they're pretty decent. Does have a few problems with it. The seat needs to be reupholstered, and I don't know if you can tell, but that's the old foam inside the seat is falling out, so we're going to need to replace that too. Basically, the bike just needs a good going over, maybe an oil change, check everything out. The gentleman that I bought it from said he put new spark plugs in. It fired up fairly easy when I got her home, second kick. It's great. Now this is a 1973 TX 650, but it has a 1978 to 79 XS 650 motor in it, which is basically the same thing. They just changed out a few things in the upper end. Now I do have a 73 motor, but we're going to go through that later on in another series of videos. But right now I just wanted to talk about what you need to look for. First off, you want to look at the condition of the bike. Now if you got a basket case, you really don't care as long as everything turns over and moves and stuff. But if you're buying like a basically running bike, you want something, oh, kind of like this one. Everything seems to be intact. Everything running. It sounds good. You may even want to do a compression test on it. There's other things that may go on with this. This one runs a little rough because it sat for a while. So basically what we're going to end up having to do is pull the carburetors off and clean them. Now I do have another kit coming from this. I also pulled off the cover, the air cleaners. Oh, they were bad. So I've got new ones coming for that and a few other odds and ends. Now this motor has been set up like the old TX motor was. It's points. So I can either change it over to electronic ignition or leave it as points. I've got a few points bikes. There's no big problem with that. Carry a little piece of sandpaper or a file for cleaning them out when you pit them up, or just an extra set of points. We're going to do a walk around here and I'll kind of do a show of what I've found that I'm going to take care of. It is a bit dirty, but this stuff here that's falling down, this kind of orange stuff, is from the seat itself. And I'll come around here and show you. You can see here, the seat is all kind of cracked up. I've got a new cover coming for that. There's all, yeah, do you see that? Here, watch that again. Yeah, all that stuff falling down. This is all from the old foam inside there gone. We'll have to end up replacing that. Now, he threw a charge on the battery and the battery seems good, but we have a problem like right here. The seat here is cracked, and I think there was another spot. Yeah, right down in here. There's some. I'll have to end up welding this up and putting it back together. See what that is. That's the catch for the upholstery when you bend it around. There it is. These are all rotted out right in here. And once I get the cover off, we'll do some repair on that. I'll do a little video on that one too, on doing the repairs. But basically, I want to leave this bike pretty much as it is. My wife kind of fancies it. And what I'm going to end up doing is making another kind of dual sportish bike. Now we're going to go, these are 12.5-inch shocks here, and for my wife I'm going to put on 11.5, so I'm going to drop it a little bit, and once we do the seat a little bit we'll straighten that up. A few other little odds and ends. I may change out these lights and put in something a little closer in, because I remember the old bags off the one I crashed. Well, I've done some repairs to them. Now these are still going to be needed to be welded up, but I think we'll run those on the back of this bike. And I may put a spare tank back here, fuel tank, that'll tie into the system. These old tanks, they're really people are looking for them because they're a 4-gallon tank compared to the newer style 75. They went to a 3 or 3.5-gallon tank. Now you can see that this, I don't know if I can get it in here. This has got, it's got 25,000 miles on this one here. So there will be things that we'll need to do. We'll definitely need to go in and change the oil in the fork tubes. Looked like I can look up in here, they upgraded the headlight a little bit. I'd like to change these out to the front ones, get them tucked in a little bit more, especially if we're going to do any riding kind of off-road a little bit for it. Now these tires are in pretty good shape. Previous owner didn't know how long they had been on there either, so the rims are in really good shape. This one has the old style front rim, the lip rim. I kind of like these. These are pretty solid rims. The back is just a standard steel rim. Spokes all look good. There was no broken spokes or anything on it. Let's start this thing up. See how many kicks it's going to take me to get this to go. Oh! One thing you want to look for is in your exhaust is if it's smoking. Well, you know, if they sit for a while, it could just be the rings need to semi-reseat themselves. This one's not bad. You hear that little bit of a popping? It sounds like the carbs need to be really cleaned and readjusted again. He sounds pretty good. Now we will be changing the exhaust a bit here on this bike. Because we are going to kind of be running a little bit off-road, and I want to put in a center stand. This doesn't have a center stand, so I definitely want to put a center stand on it. It just makes it easier if you're off on these dirt roads, back roads and stuff, and you get a flat. It's an easy way to get the tire off or check everything out. But the exhaust, what I want to do is whether I modify this and bring it up along here and still maintain the 2 and the 1, or go with 2 singles, I don't know yet. Go to back to the dual exhaust. Yeah, it's all up in the air. But there's a few little odds and ends on this thing we'll go over. I still haven't checked the compression on it. I took it for a ride. It went through the gears just fine. So that's something. Another thing on these old swing arm bikes, you want to be able to grab this and see if there's any movement, swing arm itself, and to make sure that the bushings are still in good condition. You know, I don't know if I'll upgrade the front end on it. These are 34 millimeter fork tubes. They'll be fine. I don't think my wife will ride it as aggressively as I will my other bike. But I'll clean up this stuff, clean the chrome up, maybe clean the legs up a bit here. The brakes all look good. That was another thing. This bike came with some extra parts. Another electric start. This does have electric start on it, and yes, it does work. Just odds and ends. Some old plates, which are probably, they look like they're still fairly good. I'd have to mic them to make sure. It came with new pads, and the back pads. These look like they may, yeah, these are used pads, but brake shoes, but they're still in pretty good shape. They can be cleaned up. Brand new set of exhaust gaskets, which are nice. Not sure what that came off of. That's the surprise about boxes. Here's a set of engine guards, which is kind of nice. They go right in this area right here. We'll probably be putting those on because we'll be doing a little off trailing. Another front piece. I'm not sure why they didn't use this one. Looks like they used the old 73 mounts. Another set of foot pegs. Another brake lever. And another shift lever. Plus we have some, these are upper rear motor mounts for back in there. Ooh, really nice worn out chain. And a few loose odds and ends of stuff. These are the bolts that run through here. Up here, what they did is they went to a single bolt system. Because this takes the through bolt and those take the singles. But all in all, it's not a bad deal, huh? Plus, this one came with a shop manual, so that's kind of nice. When you're buying the bikes, if they come with some spare parts, don't refuse them. You might need them. Now, the speedo and everything's worked. Timing chain needs to be adjusted a bit. Valves need to be adjusted. Just small odds and ends, and a really good clean job on this. So we'll clean this all up and polish her. I may repaint the tank. There's a couple of spots where I don't know if you can make it out right here on the side where they filled in where the old badges used to be. So I'll probably resand that and repaint that. Clean the frame up a little bit. Clean up all this chrome. Get that back into shape. Well, that kind of wraps it up. So let's kind of critique what we went over. One thing we want to do is what you're looking for if the bike falls in your price range. If you can get it cheaper, good for you. You want to look at the overall condition of the bike. You want to look at components that may need to be replaced or repaired or cleaned up. All in all, just look for the safety of the bike. Make sure that the clutch works, the brakes work, the lighting system works well. Yeah, there we go. Turn signals, if they have them. Oh well, and horn works. This one here has a wild spring on that starter, Bendix. Thing to know is when you're sitting on that bike, your feet touch the ground. I see these people coming up and they're tiptoeing when they get to a stop sign. Not good, not good at all. But that's why my wife was uncomfortable with the height of the bike. So what we are going to do is we're going to put lower shocks on it. So I hope you'll like this episode. I know I haven't come out with anything recently. This is still January. I took some time off. I went camping. I like going fishing. And yeah, we did do a little bit of fly fishing. But we're back at it, and I hope in 2021 here we can carry this on through with a bunch of different episodes. Anytime I'm tearing anything apart on this bike, I will film it, we will put it on. I do have that 1973 motor over there that I want to rebuild. So upcoming on 2021, we have a lot of different stuff. I've been thinking about what I can bring out to you guys and gals on these bikes. So let's hope it'll work out anyway. Well, I hope this episode on buying a used bike has helped some. What to look for. Smoky exhaust could mean bad rings, or the bike has sat for a while and the rings aren't seated properly. Leaky cases, oil coming out of places that shouldn't be coming out of. Seals around shaft areas, kickstart, sprocket side. Double check those. That means the seals may need to be replaced. Around the valve cover gaskets and such. Could be it. Weird noises. If the bike runs, what's that noise in that engine you're hearing? Is that just a timing chain turning around in there? Or a gear or something? Or is there a weird bearing noise or a knock? You want to pay attention to that. Electrical system. Good idea to bring along a voltmeter. Check that out. Just because the bike has been charged up doesn't mean that that was charged up by the bike's charging system. Double check that. Headlight, tail light, turn signals, do they work? What about the horn? Does that work? What about the electric start? Hopefully that works, because that's how you got the bike started, or it's a kickstart. Braking. Will the bike stop? It's sometimes tough to check the rear brakes on these, because they're usually on the old school ones, they are a shoe style brake, so you can't really see in there, but push down on the brake, give the bike a shove forward, see if it locks out. Front brakes, or if they carry a disc brake all the way around, look at the disc itself to see if there's any wear in it, or look at the pads, how far the pads will wear down. Bring a flashlight along so you can look and check that stuff. Tire condition. Are there cracks in the tires? Are they bald? Are they flat? Who knows? Are the tires in good shape? You want to make sure this stuff is in good condition if you're going to try to drive it home. Are there missing parts off of this bike, like side covers or whatever? You want to see that beforehand. Take your time when you're going through to buying a used bike. I've bought enough over the years. I have certain things that I look for, and you should too. But the overall appearance of the bike, does it look good? Does it make you happy? Well, can you get it for a decent price? Then go for it. I got this one for a decent price. I'm happy. So you should be happy too. If there's any questions, send them to my email address at tmiyagi@hotmail.com, or put them in the comment section below and a comment. I would be glad to answer any of your questions, or try to do it to my best of my ability. And thanks for my old subscribers, and thanks to my new ones. I really appreciate you guys and gals out there. It's very important to me. Keeps this old man going. Well, if you've liked this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the ringy-dingy button for the next episode coming up. So this is Mr. Miyagi signing off. And you all be safe out there. And hopefully I'll see you on the road. So take care. Ciao.